Well, let's put it this way. Once the SEC actually formalized it and gave it to the Department of Justice, its decision, the Department of Justice then handed it to the National Bureau of Investigation. At that point in time, they can do they can issue a warrant of arrest, they can do anything in the investigation. So it's prudent to be aware of it. I think that it's smart to know how far authorities can go, and to also know that I will hold you to account. I think that while I'm prepared for anything, we will not stop. We will appeal this all the way to the Supreme Court. Anything that authorities do, I appeal that they realize that there are consequences. The same way that when you have a cyber libel clause that, well, this is something I went to the NBI yesterday for the first time as somebody who is being investigated for a crime. As far as I'm concerned, the only crime I've done is to be a journalist. And what they're accusing me of in that one is that I have this crime of continuing publication. This is important for every one of the journalists who publish, because this means that if you've had a libel case from a decade ago, they can say that if your story is online, you are again going to be charged with it. If you've won the case, it can be reopened. Huge implications both in business and in terms of press issues.
On the arrest now, your tone sounds as if you're already sure that it's going to happen. As if it's already, do you think it's prejudged or what?
I'm prepared for anything. Again, it's prudent to be prepared, and I appeal to authorities to look at the facts of the case and to realize that, intimidation is not going to work with us.
So does that mean you're not open to settlement with King, who says that he is open to settling with them?
Oh, so again, as I said yesterday, I felt like the meeting was very friendly, and the lawyer of Mr. Kang actually gave us a copy of the complaint. I went there without knowing what the complaint was, and the NBI normally would not have given it to us. The Cybercrime Division would not have given it to us. So the lawyer gave it. Mr. Kang gave it. So I'm glad that they're doing that. But again, I will say, while the NBI claims that this is not, that this is coincidence, there's just too much coincidence as far as I'm concerned. That coincidence is a pattern, and the pattern is alarming. The SEC case is ongoing. The decision is too harsh. We weren't given due process. I'm calling it now. We expect due process. We expect our rights to be protected, and we expect to be treated as journalists with the rights given to us by the Constitution that is a reflection of the rights of the people of the Philippines.
On the changes on Facebook, how do you think this will affect your audiences, especially for Rappler?
I think we should all be looking very closely at the algorithm changes, because two things have happened since the new year, right? First is that news, traditional news, is going to essentially be eased out of the feed, which would give, as you can see, some of the more vocal propaganda pages, because they're personal pages, that could give them more power. That's one. So news feeds, traditional news feeds with facts, right? That's going to be taken out. I think you guys have to look, we all have to look closely at that. The second thing is that in terms of surveys, right? This is, in the United States, again, keep in mind Facebook is an American company. In the United States, the New York Times stock went up when this announcement happened this week that Facebook would do a survey for credible news. But I think we in the Philippines know that a lot of these mass-based movements have been organized and have been paid for in many instances. I've seen Facebook pages of journalists taken down. There's certainly things that Facebook is trying to deal with, but the Philippines is a special case. Not only do we have a very strong online state-sponsored hate, we also have charges here of manipulation. And that, I guess what I'm worried about is, and this is something I've told Facebook, is that we're seeing our democracy eroding in front of our eyes, and Facebook is the platform where it's happening.
Ma'am, going back to the cyber libel, how do you see it getting resolved? You mentioned it earlier, but did you discuss any possible deal or one with Mr. Gangs?
I think we've been given 10 days to respond to it. I left a lot of the details to the lawyers because, again, you know, one person of the three of us had anything to do with that story. And I went because I want to go and face accusers. And then also hold them accountable for these charges. I find that the timing is suspicious, the case itself is suspicious. It was a 2012 story. Magically, now a subpoena given a day before the SEC decision. Again, too many coincidences. They form a pattern, and the pattern is very clear to me.
Maria, just a follow-up on Facebook. You said a while ago that we should hold Facebook accountable. So what's one concrete way by which we can do this?
Siyempre, Paterna, you asked me one concrete way. I think you have to look at your own feed, right? One of the things that is bad for democracy is that we're being isolated in different places. We're creating echo chambers. And those echo chambers, while great for the business of Facebook, while great for engagement, is really bad for democracy because that means we can't agree on the same facts. So for me, let Facebook know, right? Let Facebook know that you want to see you want to understand the facts. I think again, given where we are as a democracy, this is critically important. And given the role Facebook plays in the Philippines, I think I forgot to tell you the one last thing. We're the largest Facebook market right now, I believe. I'll double check that, right? But I'll tweet it to you. So we're extremely important to Facebook. We know that. Facebook is extremely important to all publishers, including to Rappler, right? We couldn't have grown without you. But now you're at a point where Facebook is being used and it needs to take concrete action. It can't duck down. And to be honest, that first action it took this year where it just took news out of the feed, that's not good for news, right? Let's watch it, let's be vigilant.